All right, let's check out this video from Shirt. I love that channel name. Stop playing games efficiently. And again, we spoke about this. I think I agree. Now, this is not necessarily a video towards gacha games, but I'm taking it in that thought path. And it is because I've tried to stop playing gacha games a little bit more. Stop trying to playing gacha games now as efficiently. I'm just kind of enjoying it. If there's a limited time event, I come in, I do it. I'm not so worrying about playing the game efficiently because I think it takes away from a lot of the fun sometimes. If I want to build something, I'll build it. I'm not going to worry about min-maxing and efficiency all the time because these games have a lot of chores to do in them, and I think making it even more of a chore, it just feels too much like work. So let's see what Shirt's got to say then, shall we? I'm going to drop him a preemptive like for the name, man. I love that name. This video went off, bro. Went off. Let's see what he's got to say, though.
Picture this. You just got off your 9 to 5 shift at the poop fart factory.
Okay.
You get home, you shower, you cook up some food or maybe get fast food on the way home. You clean up a little bit, feed or walk your pet, and suddenly 2 out of your 5 hours of free time are gone. If you're content with your 9 to
True. It is kind of depressing sometimes, isn't he? Get back from the rush hour and he's like, shit, man, it's time to go to bed.
5, which is totally fine, then you have 3 hours of free time to enjoy the rest of your night. If you have side projects, then you work on that for a bit, and now you just have 1 to 2 hours of free time. And then finally,
That's why you stay up late, so you wake up shagged for work in the morning. That's how you work it, guys. Just stay up super late, man. Just stay up super late and rock into work like you've got a hangover. It's the way to go, man. It's the way to go.
PC or console to play some games.
Time to play the game.
Many people will have a goal in mind. People will boot up COD, drool at the mouth, and work towards that mastery camo for a few hours. Then you go lay in bed, scroll on your phone for longer than you should.
Doom
and fall
scrolling.
asleep. Rinse and repeat. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with this lifestyle or choice in games. It's honestly really nice to work towards those kind of long-term goals.
True.
I could apply that same mouth-foaming, brain-dead moment to any game that has a long-term grind. But what if you...
Warframe is a grindy game, isn't he? Again, when I say about... If you want to play games like that, totally fine. And there is times when I have those moments with games and I want to be super efficient. I want to like sprint to the finish line as fast as possible to do what I want to do. Or especially in gacha games, I've found that takes away a lot of enjoyment. I get it. Sometimes you feel like you have to do that, especially as a free-to-play player. You've got to get through stuff as fast as possible, which then entails you need to build characters as fast as possible, to clear the stuff as fast as possible, to get the currency as fast as possible, to be ready for the next banner. I understand that. But again, I think this is where you start to lose a lot of the enjoyment, and this is why being a tourist is fucking lovely.
Just play games to have fun. How do you obtain the goal of having fun? Especially when the thought of work the next day looms.
See, that's where you're having problem as well sometimes, isn't it? And we all do this as gamers. Is you're playing a game in the attempt to have fun. That's really then when you should be switching a game off, isn't it? And being like, right, I'm not having fun. Let's just go find a game where I'm having fun. I don't have to try and search for the fun. I think we've all fell victim to this, haven't we? You know, there's a game that you play regularly all the time, and you boot it up, and you're like, right, how can I enjoy myself today on the game? That's the time when it should be like, you know what? Let's not play today. Let's just do what I've got to do quickly. If it's dailies, get those out of the way. And let's go play something. As soon as I boot it up, within 5 minutes, you're having fun. The fun finds you rather than having to find the fun.
It's over you like an anvil on a rope. For years, sadly, I've had so many days where I try to force myself to enjoy something. And most of the time, it's fruitless. I just can't.
I've been there. Call of Duty, CSGO, Valorant, the amount of times I've been 5 hours deep into a Valorant session. Hope the next game's going to be fun, man. The next game's going to be fun, man.
I can't stop thinking about work, even though there's nothing I can control. A very modern question that I even find myself looking up is, how do I enjoy video games again? I mean, hell, this channel is the spawn of insecurity that I had playing video games while unemployed. This channel became a way for video games to be productive.
Man,
so
that's the best time to be playing video games, man, when you're unemployed. Just saying, it is, you know.
Need to be productive. It's literally just an entertainment medium. Granted, the greatest entertainment medium of all time, but I digress. Think of playing video games like your parents and Facebook. It's supposed to just be a way to relax and unwind, but when we have such tight schedules, we find ourselves trying to get the absolute most out of our time gaming. And this is where
This is what created like gacha games, isn't it? People with not much time, not the ability to spend hours, swipe away, and you get what you need, you know?
our biggest problem lies: playing games efficiently. What I mean by playing games quote unquote efficiently is that whenever you boot up your current game, you tend to look up your builds, the best dialogue choices, how to finish puzzles, how to beat bosses, or do an
Yo, this is so true. This is why I don't do this. And this is why I think the age of YouTube has kind of like spoiled gaming in a way, because everybody's all about doing everything as efficiently as possible. Let's watch a guide. Let's watch somebody play the game early. Let's watch a teaser trailer, then alpha footage, then beta footage, then early access footage. And then the game comes out and you start playing and you're like, man, I feel like I've played this game before. And then you're watching videos constantly on how to be better at the game, how not to choose things in the game because somebody else has already chose it for you and you're basically just clicking the same thing they're doing then, which I'm not saying there's a problem with that. And hey, I've done it myself. You know, there's been games sometimes where you're like, I want to make sure I do make this as efficient as possible, but it does remove a bit of the fun from it, doesn't it? You know, it really does remove a bit of the fun from video games. It kind of just makes it, it's almost like real life then. It's like, I've got to make the right choice here or I'm fucked. And, you know, that definitely does take away from video games. End of the day, if you're playing a story game, you can always reload a save. You know, if you're playing a free-to-play gacha game, well, obviously, if you're not too deep in, you can always re-roll or just not let it get to you too much. It's easier said than done sometimes. I get it. I know we all fall victim to these things sometimes. Yeah, this hits home. This does, because again, I've really took this stance recently in Wuthering Waves in trying to be just whatever, super casual, not bothered about being efficient, and I'm enjoying the game so much more for it as well. Because at the end of the day, gacha games are not supposed to be sweaty. You know, they're not. A lot of people play them like they are sweaty games. They're just not sweaty games. They're super casual. And I think too many people in the space, and they're designed to make it like this, play them in the opposite way to the way they're supposed to be played in a sense, and try to turn them into these super competitive games. And it takes away so much fun.
exploit for
And this is
more
games in
money,
general, you know.
all in the name of wanting to
Obviously, there
maximize your free
is
time.
enjoyment out of competitiveness as well. I get it, you know, like I say, when I'm playing things like Valorant and CSGO, or even things like Call of Duty, I want to win. I want to do well. There's an enjoyment out of dropping a, you know, in Valorant, dropping a 20, 30 bomb game, hardly dying, couple of aces there and there, here and there, clutching up rounds, you know, playing really well, playing for the team. You know, it's a good feeling, and it sucks when you don't play well as well. But it is nice sometimes to just chill. That's why Call of Duty is great for that, because you can just switch off on Call of Duty, can't you? And just basically steamroll dads who are listening to the kids screaming at them, which is nice sometimes.
You also start to skip dialogue. You don't read the notes or journals, even though they add a lot to the atmosphere. And sometimes you just install a bunch of mods that alter the game completely. The gaming field has changed a lot with easily accessible internet. And honestly, I think that can ruin your experience in a game. Now, these solutions I'm going to provide aren't the solutions to all your problems, but think of it as advice from another pair of eyes. And don't be afraid to say to yourself, well, this advice really isn't for me. Not all advice is for everyone, but hear me out.
Okay.
I think the true way to play a game is to treat it like you're playing it 15 years ago.
Going blind.
Let's dig up an old memory of yours, or not, if you didn't experience this, but bear with us, rememberers. 10 to 15 years ago, you walk into a GameStop and you bolt it right towards your console section. You start perusing games with the intent to purchase one, and you stumble.
Man, that did feel like golden days. They did. Not gonna lie. Waiting at midnight launches. Oh, man. It was good times. Although I don't play on console anymore. Like, we went in game the other day, actually, when we was up Merrihill. And I was just like, damn, this is a blast from the past, this is.
Across a game with some really cool box art and a sick name. For me, when I was a kid, that was like Killzone and Resistance.
Yes.
I had no idea what these games were about, but damn, did that box art look sick?
Killzone was
You start
fire.
looking at the back of the box to get any tiny semblance of what the gameplay might actually.
This is so true. This is so true. Or you go that extra mile, and I used to buy PlayStation magazines, and you get a couple of pictures and a little bit of an interview with a developer on one page, and that'd be enough to spark that. I need to get this game. I need to play this. This looks fucking cool. And that's all you got, you know, until you booted up the game and you started playing. Perfect example for me. I've said it multiple times. Fallout 3. I didn't play Fallout 1 and 2 when I was younger. I can't remember. I think I saw, it might have been on YouTube. It might have been on YouTube, but I saw a trailer. This is like, what, you're talking 2007-ish, I think? I saw a trailer of like, I think it's where, I can't remember the exact trailer now. I just remember it's somebody shooting something like that. I can't remember if it was one of the members of the freaking Brotherhood of Steel. I can't remember. Whatever, anyway. And I saw this trailer. I was like, yo, I need to get this game. I need to play this game. And that's it. That's all I knew about it. And obviously, you start in the vault. You're starting off. And I was like, oh, okay. So this is going to be like your typical tunnel shooter. It's going to be super linear. I'm going to spend the entire game inside this vault fighting monsters and fighting other guys where it's connected to other little areas in the game. And that's the game. And then that first moment when you leave the vault and I could see the wasteland before me. That's one of those gaming memories that sticks in my head because one, totally usurped my expectation. I did not expect that to be the game. And two, it was just like, oh shit, I can go over there. And I just remember just having so much, like Fallout games for me, like peak, you know, Fallout New Vegas, such a good game. Fallout 3, I loved it as well. You know, but Bethesda back in the day, were just top tier Skyrim games as well. But Fallout 3 was just such a pinnacle gaming moment for me. And that would have been spoiled if I'd have sat watching somebody else play the game and watched a bunch of videos on the game as well. You know, going in blind on a video game is a really pleasant thing to do sometimes.
Actually look like, but you're not really worried about mechanics, genre, characters, or hell, even politics. But it's the graphics that sell you on that game. You
Yeah,
make the purchase.
that's true as well. Like, I get it. I know there's a lot of issues in the West sometimes in regards to like forced politics in games and forced agendas, which I see it is a problem sometimes. But I feel so bad for young kids now where they see so many grifters, because there's grifters on both sides. And I'm not saying there isn't real agendas trying to be forced into video games sometimes, but there is grifters on both sides, isn't there, sometimes? I feel sorry for kids who are just like, you know, obviously it sucks that that's being forced into the game, but sometimes their experience of the game gets overshadowed by like a bunch of people arguing about the characters in the game before the game's even shown anything off. You know, they're watching, oh, somebody's talking about this video game and all they're doing is moaning about politics. And they're like, oh, okay, all right, let's go find someone else. And oh, somebody else is moaning about this person's not represented. And oh man, it's woke because this has been added in. And the kid's just like, I want to play the video game, man. I kind of feel sorry for him in that regard. Again, not saying there isn't some shitty stuff forced into Western games, definitely. But at the same time, you know, I feel bad for them, man, because I never got any of that. I just got to experience games that I enjoyed when I was a kid.
And on the car
without
ride
it
home,
being
ripped up that
through
plastic
somebody
wrap,
else's
get
view,
that
with it
new
being
game
filtered
smell,
and affected
open
by the
up
way
that
somebody
bad
else saw
boy.
it.
Oh my God. The car ride home on those days could not be any longer, I swear.
Rosie says I'm a weirdo for this as well. Am I a weirdo? I used to love opening a video game case and that new game smell. Oh man, it was so good. It was so good. You know, it's like new puppy smell. Like I'd suck that in, man. I loved it.
The whole way you're just reading the manual and looking at all the pictures in it. And then you finally get home and you start playing. A few hours or maybe even a couple days into playing the game, you come across a puzzle. A puzzle so hard for your little tiny brain that you get stuck on it for like over an hour. Now, today, people get stuck
go
on
on
a
YouTube
puzzle
and
for
look it up.
5 minutes and then they just look up the answer. I was
Yep.
guilty of this like 3
Yep.
days ago.
We've all
on
done
The
it.
Witcher 3. I just didn't feel like doing a puzzle. But back then, you just had to figure it out yourself. You had to do everything in the game yourself. You had to gear up yourself. Dialogue options were completely your choice, and negative outcomes you just had to deal with.
Was that a
Bosses
pause
you were
moment?
stuck on, you just
Pause.
had to learn
Pause.
and get better. There was no worry of the optimal build, reading online guides, watching walkthroughs, etc. I think honestly, this is the true way to play video games. Sure, you might feel big and strong playing a meta build you looked up for your single player RPG, but it just trivializes a lot of the game. Now, I know that might seem
It's true.
obvious to some
No, it's
people, but
true.
when you value your free time as much as I do,
I think as an older gamer, you get it because you experienced it before that. You know, warts and all. Like, you know, we look at things nostalgic sometimes. You know, old games had their issues as well. They had their issues as well. But you know, newer gamers don't get that, do they? You know, everything's just like, oh, well, quick, Google it, quick time. Go on YouTube, quick time. They don't get that experience as much. Now I know people still will fight through stuff, but it's just a new era now, isn't it? That's how games are, and that's why, man. You know, a lot of stuff in games now is kind of diluted down, which I'm not going to lie, is probably good for me because I'm a smooth brain, so still.
you can naturally fall into the habit of looking up your problems.
Yeah.
Here's what you gotta start
I think
doing.
we've all done it, haven't we?
The next time you start up a new game, just start it with the goal of not looking up a single thing. Play through the whole game if you enjoy it, and I promise you, every victory, puzzle solve, build that you come up with yourself, and dialogue choice that ends well will all feel so much more rewarding.
For me, with Mass Effect 2, it was like the idea if I'd used YouTube or something now back in the day would have definitely took a shine off the game for sure.
This is the way developers want you to play the game. I recently played Timberborn for the first time. I am absolute dog water at city builders and strategy games for some reason. So in order to enjoy this one, I set the difficulty to the easiest and I worked on small little goals. Slowly through trial and error.
As well, that moment in a game, it's so much better, isn't it? When, you know, when something just clicks. You know, something that you've struggled to understand for a little bit. You start to partially learn it, but you still don't quite get it, and outcomes don't happen the way you want them to happen. And you're like, what did I do wrong again there? And then all of a sudden, that moment clicks, whether it takes 5 minutes, 5 hours, whatever. It's so rewarding, isn't it? Rather than just being like, oh, fuck it, I'm going on YouTube. I need to figure this out. That process. Oh, it's such a good process in video games.
I learned how to actually play the game, but more importantly, I enjoyed my entire journey because I just took my time with it. I didn't look anything up, and I'm prouder than ever that my virtual beavers get to have a nice life. If I were to watch a 1 hour long video on Timberborn, things I wish I knew before playing the game, I think my experience would just be dampened. Although I will say the worst part is when the game
those videos do
enough.
pop off though, don't they? Yo, what's going on, Silent Fusion? Spending 3 hours trying to finish one Elden Ring quest without Google. I only do efficiency with the competitive PvP video games, but in solo RPG, I just do my own stuff. Yeah, agree. I will sometimes in PvP games, you know, because obviously, you do want that fast track to improval sometimes, don't you? Improvement, should I say? Yeah, I do. That's why sometimes you'll see me at live streaming, and there's stuff that sometimes people in chat are like, dude, how have you not figured this out yet? And it's like, because I'm dumb for one, and two, I'm just trying to roll with it kind of thing, and it's more enjoyable. It really is. It makes you look stupid on live stream sometimes, because when you guys make mistakes in video games, or you get dumb struck by something that maybe afterwards you think, fuck, how did I struggle on that? You know, nobody sees it. But as a streamer, that's part of the fun of streaming as well. Yeah, I agree, man. This is the way to play video games, especially single-player video games, definitely. You make mistakes, and that's part of the journey, isn't it?
On what to do next, so you just end up, like, backtracking for hours. I think nobody should have to go through that, and you probably should just look it up by then, but you never know when it's just like a weird glitch preventing you from progressing. But
true.
Try your best to move on without looking it up first. Like I said, just play games the way the developers want you to. Now, I will say that doesn't make the thought of work the next day go away magically. There's no solution to that. But there is a small remedy that I frequently use.
This is a video coming from somebody who I don't think's a massive fan of the job. Which I get it. We've all been there doing jobs we hate where you're just like, oh my God, I've got to get up in the morning. But I do agree as well. You know, when you let yourself just become immersed in the process, not just the world, but the process of the game, you know, figuring things out, you do tend to forget about other stuff because your game's engaged, your brain's engaged, isn't it? Trying to work out what's what. And that's how, you know, you get lost then in video games. And I think that's one thing as a kid. Obviously, it's different as a kid. Things, experience are just different anyway. But as a kid, that's what we did. you know, because there wasn't those options. So you did just get lost for hours in not just the world and the awesome story and the moments, but the actual game to get minute to minute gameplay and the process of figuring things out and puzzle solving as well.
If you feel guilty for playing video games during your free time, then you should
Nope,
do
never.
something productive. Do something productive. Go to the gym, clean something in the house, work on a project, apply for a better job, make a better resume.
Nah, fuck that.
Just do something
Just
productive.
play video games, bro.
And after that, reward.
Just rot. just fucking just rot on your games, man. That's why I like to make sure to go to the gym early. You know, I get what he's saying now. There's been plenty of times where I am playing video games and I'm like, I really should be doing other things right now. Yeah, man, video games for me, it's that thing that's still in my life that gives me that childlike excitement. You know, I still do get excited about playing new video games, and as I'm going to bed quite often, especially with games that I'm really enjoying, I can't wait to get on that tomorrow and play. It's a nice thing, man.
By
It's
playing
nice.
a video game. An amazing quote I read once goes something kind of like this: one of the few ways to relieve anxiety is with action. In this case, being unproductive might be why you feel anxious playing video games.
This is true.
So go be productive.
I think this is why we do, you know, anxiety envelops us when we're not doing much. And you tend to find that less busy people have issues with depression. Not saying that depression's one of those things that just go do something, bro. But do you know what I mean? A busy mind, you know, it suffers less distractions. It's usually not at night time, isn't it? When we're doom scrolling, that you start to think of really fucked up shit and start questioning your own mortality and stuff like that. You know, it's never usually at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when you're busy. It's usually at 1 a.m. The lights are off and you're like, oh my God, man. But what if, oh, wait a minute. What was that feeling I had the other day? Am I dying? You know what I mean?
Productive, even for just a little bit, and reward yourself with video games. You will have a much healthier relationship with your games if you do both of these, in my opinion. So that's it. That's my tip for all of you in the same boat as me or anyone. Play a game like you're a kid again, and if you have to, just make video games a reward for a hard day's work. That's really all I got. This was just a thought that I've been having for a while, and after testing it myself, I just felt that I should share my experience with you guys. So subscribe or you'll be forced to lose 2 hours of progress on your game because the game crashed. Bye.
Oh,
Now,
shit, Ryuku. Yeah, I agree with that massively. I agree with that. I've been saying this for a while, and I've actually been taking this effect in, like Wuthering Waves. I'm just kind of enjoying my time. I'm not worrying about min-maxing at the moment. I'm not worrying about super efficient. If I'm struggling to get the echoes I want for a character, it's just like, whatever. Timed events, I'll do it. Other than that, I'll just be a tourist and just enjoy games again, because I think I've been doing that recently. And for a long time I was anyway, in some other games, where I was just desperately trying to play games a specific way, and I lost the enjoyment. That's definitely good advice, I think, there from this dude. Stop playing games efficiently. And I think as gacha gamers, it's even more of an issue. Just enjoy the games, you know? There'll always be another banner. Don't stress. Don't treat it as a chore. It's not a job. It's supposed to be enjoyable. Have fun with it. And you'll probably start enjoying the game a lot more. It was a great video, that was, guys, from Shirt. I love that channel name as well. I really enjoyed that, actually. That was nice. It was nice.